Okay, some of you are there, but they're not responding. So let's take a look at this other problem here. It says, write the equation of the line that goes through this line and is parallel to this. Again, we start with writing y is equal to mx plus b. Now, this is a very typical problem you might see on the final exam, where they give you a reference line and a point. Okay, so I don't know my slope. Can somebody tell me how to find the slope? Anyone with a mic? How to find the slope in this case?
Take the equation and solve it for y.
Okay, so we look at the reference line, which is right here, and solve it for y. Very good. So we look at the reference line. We know this line is parallel to our line. If I solve this for y, then I can subtract 2x from both sides of the equation and then divide each term by -7. So I would see the slope would be equal to 2 over 7. That would be a slope of the reference line, the line that is parallel to mine. If the slope of my reference line is 2 over 7, what would be the slope of my line if they're parallel? Can somebody tell me that? If two lines are parallel, what's the relationship between their slope? Okay. Anyone?
I'll bite. Same slope.
Same slope, yeah, very good. That would be same. If they were perpendicular, what would be their slope? If two lines are perpendicular, like these two lines there. If I have two lines that are perpendicular, you might see on the test perpendicular instead of parallel. If this is L1 and this is L2, if the slope of the first line is 2 over 3, what would be the slope of the second line? Go ahead, please, once again. Anyone? Diamond, is that you were responding?
No, I'm saying can you go back to the problem because you just switched it really quickly.
Oh, I'm going to go back, but before I get back to that problem, the question is if two lines are perpendicular, what's the relationship between their slope? I just want to know if you know that. Anyone wants to try that? Anybody know? If the slope of the first line is 2 over 3, what's the slope of the other line if they're perpendicular?
It's the reciprocal, so -3 over 2.
Okay, it's negative and reciprocal. So you're -3 over 2, absolutely right. If they're parallel, if two lines are parallel, the slope would be exactly the same. So make a note of that, please. We're going to see this for the final exam. If two lines are parallel, the slope would be exactly the same. Now the product of slope of two lines that are perpendicular, this is going to be on your test. Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, so I got it on another computer.
Oh, thank you. That's good. That's a lot better. So the question now is, if what would be the product of the slope of two lines that are perpendicular? Can somebody tell me what that would be equal to? Product of the slope of two lines that are perpendicular. That could be on the test too. Okay, Sylvia, if you're not talking, you have to click on the talk button to give the microphone to someone else to talk, unless you want to give me the answer. Anyone? This should be pretty obvious because you're saying that if the slope of the first line is a over b, the slope of the second line must be negative b over a, negative and reciprocal of each other. So what would be the product of a over b times negative b over a? What is that equal to?
-1.
-1. So that's the fact. So if two lines are perpendicular, the product of their slope would be always equal to -1 because they are negative and reciprocal of each other. So going back to this problem here, they're saying they are parallel. If they're parallel, the slope would be exactly the same. So to find the slope of the reference line, we just solve for y, and the coefficient of x would be the slope. So the slope of my line also must be the same as 2 over 7. There we have it, 2 over 7 being my slope. Now, how do you solve for y-intercept? Somebody wants to tell me that. Y is equal to, in this case we have y is equal to 2 over 7x plus b. How do you solve for b? We did that a few times. Somebody wants to tell me again?
You use the 2 for y, so 2 equals 2 over 7x plus b, and you solve for b, right?
Very good. So you use the point, the given point. You take the given point, you call it point P. This would be x, this would be y. You just simply substitute that. Y is equal to 2, and then x would be equal to 3 over 1 plus b. So 2 is equal to 6 over 7 plus b. Now in this case, we subtract 6 over 7. Those of you who have your microphone on, if you're not talking, please turn it off. We don't get this background noise. Thank you. So this would be 2 minus 6 over 7 is equal to b. How do you solve for that? What do you do to subtract fraction? LCD, right? 7 over 7. So here we get 14 minus 6 over 7 is equal to b. That would be what? What is b is equal to? Anyone?
8 over 7.
All right, thank you. 8 over 7, yeah. There we have it. Y is equal to mx plus b. I know my slope is 2 over 7, and my y-intercept is 8 over 7. So which one would be a right choice? A, B, C, or D?
D. As
D,
in dog.
go. Very good. All right, you got it. So let me see. The last problem, who didn't respond? Alfredo, you didn't respond at all in the last problem. The rest of you did. Sanchez, well, you're there. I'm sorry, you logged in 2 different places. That's fine. All right, let's clear this up again. Can I see a check mark in front of your name? If you all can follow this problem here again. Very good.